Fort Kennedy building here in Fort Tabor. We're here to recognize Vietnam Recognition Day, the end of the war 32 years ago. Well, today will be a couple of proclamations, and it's a day to remember those, the 43 that perished from New Bedford, and never to forget the Vietnam veterans and all our men and women in the armed forces coming home today. I just hope that everybody keeps in mind that the men and women that are overseas that are coming home today are never forgotten. We don't forget what they're doing for this country, because freedom isn't free.
I come to you as a survivor of that hell on earth in a place called Vietnam. For many years, I blamed you for the atrocities, inhumanity, and death that I witnessed. I know now that you shed more tears over the war than anyone on earth combined. Help me to accept and learn from the counseling and treatment that I now receive. But most important of all, help me to know that only through Jesus Christ can these scars on my heart and soul be healed. I pray for the souls of the over 58,000 brothers and sisters who have died in that war, and for the even larger number who have died since from wounds to the body and wounds to the heart and mind.
Mayor Scott Lang, I know you'd like to come up and say a few words up here, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very honored to be here on behalf of the city. Just wanted to share a few thoughts with you. First, I want to thank the Vietnam Vets of America, Chapter 491, for all the work that you do throughout the year in the name of veterans, working with our Veterans Administration to make sure that the lives of veterans, no matter what war that they fought in, are enhanced in many, many ways. The federal government, we all know, have been reading, and I know we have very strong feelings about this, has completely misdirected its priorities when it comes to caring for veterans that are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan and around the world at this time, whether it's for veteran benefits or whether it's for providing hospital care or any kind of services for their families. The federal government is not providing the type of priority emphasis that it should. What I want to just talk about briefly this morning with Chapter 499 and our other vets in this room is that you have made an ultimate sacrifice in putting yourself in a position where you would make the ultimate sacrifice, which is giving up your life or limb in the defense, God bless you, in the defense of the service of our country, to provide for our freedom and liberty, to provide the idea that we could be here in this beautiful center today. You have given up many years of your life, both in service and then afterwards with the after effects. 32 years ago was the end of the Vietnam War. When you look back at it now, we are all in a situation trying to figure out what did that war actually mean, what was that war from the standpoint of our overall national defense, strategy. What was the impact on it? We know what the impact was on our veterans and our families and our country, but what's the impact on it from a historical standpoint? Well, 32 years ago was the end of the Vietnam War, and just yesterday or 2 days ago was the 4th anniversary of the beginning of the Iraq War. And you can see now as we go through, and a year or two ago, if someone said, gee, Iraq reminds me a little bit of Vietnam, people would immediately say, that's heresy, don't ever say that. Now more and more of our leaders on both parties, Democrats and Republicans, are up talking about there are some real similarities. Well, the historians are in this room. They say history should never repeat itself. The historians are in this room. You learn the lessons of history, the historians are right here. I believe that our veterans who fought in Vietnam, our veterans who have fought in the Persian Gulf War I, our veterans who fought in Korea or World War II, which is rapidly thinning because of age and natural life cycles. But I believe that the veterans must speak out and begin to provide a voice and some guidance as to where our country is going at this point. If Iraq is now labeled by the President of the United States a civil war, many of you understand exactly what the nuances of a civil war. If our United States Armed Forces, and it's the greatest fraternity, the greatest sorority in the world, and you heard the fight songs, and you know what the mission is. The mission is to defeat and secure and preserve our freedom and liberty. But if we're in a situation where our men and women are being called upon to be police officers, then that is not something that we're accustomed to. That's not what our training is, and it becomes very dangerous. If we spend $400 billion a year on defense to provide the finest fighting machine, the finest deterrent against violence, and then we end up in a situation where we allow an army to go back to their homes with their weapons, don't secure weapon caches, and then tell our young men and women patrol these streets, it's extremely dangerous. And we can see what's happening. There are over 20,000 young men and women who have been very, very seriously maimed or disabled, which we will have an ultimate responsibility and one that we will welcome greatly to care for them and their families. We have about 3,250 deaths at this point in something that was called a battle of liberation. We'd be welcomed with open arms, and we'd be home very, very soon. You as veterans have to speak out on this and provide guidance to our communities, to our leaders, and make sure that we don't make the mistakes of history that appear to be repeated on a day-in, day-out basis. No one cares more about freedom. No one believes more in the freedom of individuals and liberty than the vets. And it seems to me that non-vets trying to lecture people as to what's patriotic and what's not just is not appropriate. The veterans of this country must stand up and begin to draw the parallels and try and figure out where we're going and where we should be going. For a very long period of time, as you all know, if you served in the Vietnam War, as I've heard from many of the veterans, it was something that you were reluctant to tell someone. Now it seems to me that your place is to proudly say, this is where I served, this is what we accomplished, and this is how I can help you sort through something that looks like you're going to need an awful lot of help and guidance with. So I want to thank everyone, as always, for their service, for their dedication to our country. Thank their families, because obviously behind every vet, man or woman, there is a tremendous patriotic family that believes in the ultimate freedom and liberty of our country. And say, let's work together, get a dialogue going, and figure out exactly how we can protect our veterans now and our veterans of the future. Thank you.